Welcome to the Practice Podcast, conversations probing the nature of practice. I'm your host, Dave Fearon. This conversation with Jessie Radziwon represents a trend, in my experience at least, where people have a primary role in that utilizes their practice abilities, but not fully. There's some other aspect of their way of being in the world that they'd love to express. Some people would make a hobby out of it. Some people would make it a second job somewhere. In this case, the trend is developing a virtual business, being part of a mainly virtual business, using social media as the primary way of finding people who might be interested in what you sell. So Jessie has, in about 5 months' time, learned a lot about how to represent the products of a company, a new company actually, called Monat. So we're watching a person grow through extending some of her really strong abilities to a new way of bringing something good to the world, but also bringing in some income for the family. So this is my former student, Jessie Radziwon. You know, I have been following, and this may sound like I'm stalking, but I'm not really stalking Jessie Radziwon. I'm really not. But she was my student, I think, in the earliest part of this century. And I teased her on Facebook about her birthday. I called her 40 years old. Is that true? Is that just a rumor that you're 40, Jessie?
Oh gosh, well, I hope so. I'm 36, but
yeah.
There are days I feel older, but most of the time I feel younger, I think,
But when she was in her early 20s, she was my student. And then she went to work for GKN Aerospace Structures, I think was one of the titles. And it was and is a good part of her practice life. And in particular, she has an eye for the flow, I guess you'd call it supply chain-itis. She has always had a sense of how things come in and they need to be dealt with in a correct fashion, ordered, dealt with, and put on the floor for use in making important parts of airplanes and engines. So that, in a way, has defined Jessie in my experience, only in terms of what she does. But then, lo and behold, while I was teasing her on her alleged 36th birthday, I noticed that she was doing some very interesting influencer work, I guess is the most current word.
Sure, yeah.
Representing a company from home, in addition to her role at the GKN. And so I wanted to know more, not only about what she does, but also because I think this notion of the side hustle, as the jargon goes, is more and more materializing in people's lives. Through the pandemic, that became more something, a necessity to see what else I can do in case my company doesn't survive. But also, I think from a practice standpoint, people find other parts of their self, really, that they want to express, and find that social media, for example, is a great way to bring that part of your life out, put it out in the world, and make some people better off. In your case, yes. It'll be with product, but also maybe even make you guys better off by making a few more dollars. So why don't we start, Jessie, with you telling us and me what the company is that you're partnering with, and particularly what are you doing for that company?
Sure. So the company that I partnered with back in, I started in November last year. Very quickly, I hadn't even really been looking for a side hustle, as we'll call it. They're called Monat. So we are the number one premium hair care brand in the United States right now. And we also have the number 12 skincare brand in the US, which is amazing because our skincare has only been around for 2 years. So it's all backed by science, which is super important to me because
No,
I started with them back in November.
Sorry about the pause there for a moment, but continue on telling us about this. This is kind of interesting. Monet.
Yep.
What is that? What does that stand for before we go ahead? Because I think that might explain the hair and the skin care.
Sure. Yeah. So it
accelerated growth.
Yep. It stands for modern nature. So all of our products are plant-based, but backed by science. So we have a full scientific advisory board that tests and fully approves all of our hair care and skin care. Efficacy is super important to us. So we want to create a product that actually will work, and not one that just is pretty. And so that is something that I really was kind of pulled. That's kind of something that pulled me in to begin with. After having kids, you know, your hormones go crazy, and I lost a lot of hair, and I had tried a bunch of different things and nothing was really working. And you know, as a woman, your hair is kind of like it's a part of you, right? And when it's not right and you don't feel good about it, it can make you feel kind of low. So I had just happened upon this product through like a friend of a friend. And I had seen pictures of her hair, and she had kind of been going through the same thing. She's a couple of years older than me, and she'd had kids a long time ago, and she just had a bunch of, you know, hair loss postpartum, and it just kind of never came back. And then she was showing like a after picture after she'd been using these products for, you know, 3 months or 4 months, I think it was. And the results were crazy. And it's just shampoo and conditioner. Like, it's not even anything. You don't have to ingest anything. There's no pills. There's no like crazy schemes or gimmicks. Like, it's just a really good quality product that is actually able to absorb into your hair follicles and your hair strands and help it heal and strengthen from the inside out. That's the basics. But I tried it for myself and I loved it. And so I decided to jump in because I figured if it's something that I had found for myself that I had been looking for, I figured other people must be looking for something in the same way.
Very astute. And I think that's partly how quite a few folks these days do discover a way, as you are, to put some work into something you believe in, because there's so much more accessible information, and it's quicker to link to someone and say, hey, I noticed you're a really amazing improvement. How did you get that? So that the conversations that center around things that people discover they really need, and in a place of with inflation and other factors making people even more careful about what they buy, if they can buy from someone they know and or they know that person is in a really good network of people, it's got a lot of promise. When you reached out to them, what did you have to do to become what you call a partner with this company? It sounds great so far.
Yeah. So I had reached out, and I had actually purchased first just as a retail client, because I wanted to, you know, get the product and try it. And, you know, you hear a lot of things about network marketing companies, and a lot of a lot of network marketing companies in general don't have great reputations, which has always made me kind of uneasy.
Sure.
But I had reached out within two tries of the product, of washing my hair and conditioning like I normally would. My hair just immediately felt better. Obviously, you're not going to see results in 2 shampoos, because I only shampoo my hair every 3 or 4 days. But just the way it felt immediately made me feel like it was something different that I hadn't tried before. So I reached back out to the girl that I had bought it from, and I said, okay, how do I get in on this? Because I feel like it's just something that, even if I don't sell to hundreds of people, if I'm going to continually buy it for myself, the discount alone is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I even just share it with 2 people or 3 people and help them on their journey, then I'm also making the commission off of whatever they buy in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, for me, it's more about helping other people, because it took me so long to find something that I felt was actually working for me, that if I can even just help 2 or 3 people find that one thing that works for them sooner, then I feel like I've done some good, even though it's just hair care. But hair care for women is a crucial part of our life.
Well, it's also a billion dollar market overall, all the product. It reminds me that when I was active on the board of Reset, Connecticut Social Enterprise Trust, we're women, perhaps in your age category, and who had similar concerns and struggles, and African American women who could not find a product that really worked with their skin, or obviously their hair challenges, and so they would come up with something themselves and start working out to scale it. And we did suggest it for several, that they develop a networking approach. I noticed you because of the social media, and I think you had these very effective videos. Can we talk a bit about what you do now to
Sure.
make sure you put the Jessie stamp on the product? Because you're not just holding up something and saying, here, read this. You're speaking in beautifully, and you're demonstrating beautifully.
Oh, thank you. So I really just it took, I hate feeling when people are coming off salesy towards me. I don't like that. And so I try to not be that way towards other people. So if I am, going live on Instagram, most of my stuff is on Instagram, but I'll post some of it over to Facebook afterwards. But I really just go about my normal routine, and I will show people, how I use the product or how it's benefited me. So whether it's a very simple, oh, here's my morning skincare routine, and it might not all be Monat products. It might be I really love their moisturizer, but this is the sunscreen that I use also, or, whatever it might be. It's not just Monat, and that's it. It's a million different things that I use in my normal life. So it's, but as far as the hair care, it'll be a simple, oh, here's how I styled my hair today, and these are the products that I used. And, and you can reach out if you're interested in whatever it is that you saw that you think you might want to try. And there's links, you can always get to a link through my bio. If you wanted to just go try something yourself, which is always fine. But I try to just not overload people with the sales talk, because it's not something that people this day and age want to hear. We're all that was 5 years ago. That was something that I think we all were oh, wow. What are they selling?
Yeah,
and now we're all past that.
Yeah, we are. We want a quiet, easygoing.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
And it's really more about building connections with people. I don't have a huge Instagram following, but the followers that are constantly commenting or messaging or whatever, I have personal relationships with those people now, and they could make a comment about, a story and be oh, I saw your son in the background, whatever. and that's not weird to me, because I've been chit-chatting with this person, this woman who I also follow, and she has similar hairstyles. And so we share information back and forth, but the community that is created is so much more important to me, because you could have someone who has 20,000 followers or 35,000 followers. And yeah, they might be making a lot more money because they have a bigger audience, but they're not as in tune with who their direct audience is, you know what I'm trying to say? So
I get it.
It's, and I'm still relatively new at this. I've only been doing this for 5 months or whatever it might be. But, like I'm able to bring in a couple extra $100 every month, and it's working, and it's not my full-time job. I still have a pretty much full-time job, and we have 2 little kids, and I don't have time to put 20 hours of effort into this side gig every week. But the time that I do have, it pays off, and it's usually just something that I would be doing anyways. So I just record it and post it.
I know. I think that the point you just made, Jessie, is very crucial, which is it's something I would have been doing anyway. And I think that's the naturalness of this. It would be for any of us. For example, if I started to show you a line of shoes, I don't do shoes. I've never done shoes. But if I said, I'm adding from my podcast and adding to the book, I'm going to add a video series and something I can use on Instagram, it would be, oh yeah, that's good. It seems natural and logical because, I'm comfortable as we are right now talking into a camera. So that naturalness comes through. I'm curious about how you think about what you're going to say before you put the camera on. Do you write some stuff down or do you just go to it?
So it depends. If I'm just recording like a hair tutorial or like a skincare routine or a makeup something, I don't write anything down. I just go for it because I just talk. Like I'll talk something about a little bit about what it is that I'm doing, but I also just chit chat to the camera because it's, like what's going on in your daily life. If someone's asking you a question, you can respond to it because you see it pop up on your phone. And so you're just like kind of going, like talking like you normally would if you were talking to your best friend sitting there getting ready. But if I'm talking specifically, like if I'm doing more of an informational video on a certain product or like a product line that, newly launched, and I'm just going to like share the background info, that in that sense, I do take notes and I'll like refer to them because I try to make sure that I'm providing everyone with the most beneficial information. And I try to be as scientific as I can be without sounding like too over the top.
Got it.
But because all of our products are backed by science, I like to make sure that people realize that there's more to it than just whatever the product is called. Like there's, an actual science behind it. And so in that instance, I will take notes to make sure that I'm like not forgetting things.
Yeah. I'm curious within the limits of time here, I am interested in the science behind it because there's so much in our lifestyle conversation these days about plant-based alternative, getting away from chemicals and other things. What's sort of the genius of this? Let's start with the shampoo. What's the genius of that you think makes it kind of work where other things you tried didn't?
Yeah. So Monat developed their, it's kind of like their baseline product. It's called Radziwon. And it's an oil. It's made up of 13 like plant oils, essential oils, like omega-3s, fatty acids, all those things that are amazing for your skin and your hair anyways. But that oil is in every single product that we offer. So whether it's hair care or skincare or, shampoo, conditioner, or even most of our stylers have it in it. And the great thing about that is it actually is molecularly small enough to penetrate your skin 3 layers deep and also penetrate your hair shaft and your hair strands 3 layers deep, which is basically your hair is basically only 3 layers anyways.
That's right.
And so it's able to get in there and strengthen it all from the inside out. Whereas any other, even premium hair care brands that you can buy at your salon, and I know that stylists don't like when we say that, but it is true. Most of them will only coat your hair. So it might be giving you the appearance that it's making your hair healthier, but it's really just putting a coating on your hair and it's not getting in there to help it heal immediately and then also over time.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
yeah. So that is like the original science behind it. And it really is amazing at how well it works.
So they've kept the sort of the core of what they've done, that commingling of those different oils. And then they can think, well, what else could we do with this? Did they start with shampoo? Did they start with skin?
So they started with shampoo and conditioner, and the oil. So it used to just be like the oil and one shampoo and conditioner. Oh. They expanded their shampoo and conditioner line. So we actually have, the business is only 6 years old. So it's still relatively very young as far as network marketing goes. But they've been doing extremely well. They expanded their hair care line so that there are products for every hair type. So depending on if you have oily hair or like a greasy scalp or thin hair or thick hair or curly or whatever it might be, there's a different option for you. So it's not just like, here's the shampoo we sell, try it. Yeah. You actually want to talk to someone either like me or some other market partner who can look at your hair, ask you questions, and then say, oh yes, like this is the one that would work best versus another option.
Cool. Very cool. It's good business. It's very good business. I'm going to interrupt our talking about the moment to take you back to when you were my student again, because you were.
Let's go. I was younger. Let's go there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh boy, were you young? And so was I, actually. I had a lot more hair on my head back then, but you worked at J. Jill.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, you drew a lot of confidence from that, customer relations, many things that you drew upon to when you got yourself started in the aerospace world. But I'm wondering if you felt that you were selling, in quotes, garments there, or were you representing them in the sense that you are representing this product now? Is there a consistency between the J. Jill salesperson and the current Jessie?
Definitely. You know, so even working in retail, and, sometimes retail gets a bad rap too. Mm-hmm. Even back then, I was never a salesy person. I felt like if someone was coming in to this store and they're looking for something, my job was to help them find it. If they wanted something to go with that item, help them make a selection and help them find something that would make them feel better when they left. That was my job.
Here it is.
And, I would, if someone was not interested in adding anything, then that's fine. Like you came in for one t-shirt and that's all you want. That's fine with me. But if you wanted something extra, like here, let me help you. These are the options. These are what I think would look great on you. Mm-hmm. And then you work with them until they feel better. It's not about us, right? It's about the person that came in to buy the stuff.
That's right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing now. I really love helping people find things that make them feel better about their hair or their skin or whatever their issue might be. And like I'll have people come back like 3 weeks or a month later and be like, my hair feels awesome. Like I have all these baby hairs growing, or even if they didn't have hair loss, even if they're just wanted to switch out for like a better product. Our product is not just meant for hair growth and thickening the hair you have. Like it's just meant to be a cleaner option. And you have people who are just like, my hair is like, it's never been this great. And that's all that I can ask at the end of the day is that, that I have helped someone feel better in themselves. So.
Yeah. And I was thinking in all these months and months and months that we've been on Zoom and similar platforms, depending on how we set our screen, we can see ourselves while we're talking to someone else. And it just struck me how many thousands and thousands of people, particularly when they're doing a day's work with Zoom, became more and more conscious of their look. Mm-hmm. at least from the chest up, you could be, but particularly the part that you're focusing on, the way our skin looks, the way our hair looks, does it look healthy? It's about the only thing people were seeing. And we are humans who make a lot of sort of silent judgments about the other persons on that screen. Yeah. Differently than if we were sitting across a conference table or even a cup of coffee table. It's just it's framed, that part that you're focusing on, the face and the hair. Does that make sense?
It does, definitely. And GKN doesn't do a lot of video conferencing with videos on. We mostly,
that's how people get away with it. Yeah.
We mostly just sit there in the dark. Which is fine because we, some of our calls are only like 2 minutes if we're just checking in and making sure things are going and whatever. But like my husband, he is on video calls almost all day, and he's constantly seeing people face to face, his team or his bosses or his clients. And I do feel a lot of companies do it that way, but definitely in this day and age where you're just being seen through a screen most of the time, the screens don't always give you the best light, right? Like it's just sometimes the lighting is bad depending on where your desk is at home. Like you just might be like in a basement, you might be wherever, but so I think that they have focused more on the one thing that other people are seeing, which is just your face and your hair. But I think we're turning a corner. I don't know. I hope we're turning a corner as far as getting more face-to-face time with people, real face-to-face time. Yeah. But who knows? I think that the business model too is changing, and a lot of people are just going to be working hybrid forever for the foreseeable future. And so this might just be the norm, but yeah, I would agree with you.
And from your the way you're helping people, you do most of the, when you're looking at a new person and you're saying, "Oh, let me get a sense of your hair," you're doing it on the camera, right?
So if they're comfortable doing that, then I definitely will take a look virtually. If it's someone I know in real life, obviously, then I can
go see them.
Them. But we also have, so after doing this for a couple months, I was able to kind of determine the questions that I was typically asking and based on the different products that we offer, what are the answers that I need to help people select the right product. And so I actually just put together a little quiz that I have a link for. And so I would just send that to them and they would fill it out. And then based on their answers, I could give them my recommendations.
That's cool.
And so that way they don't ever need to video chat with me or text me back and forth. I could just send them one link and then they just, it automatically sends the results back. So easy for everybody.
Did you cook that up?
I did make that one up. Yes.
Is that something the rest of the company is picking up on, or is there a standard one that the company uses? So
there's a standard one that the company does use that's available through their website. I find that it's very kind of standard, and it will give you good results. Mine is a little more in depth. It's still short, but it asks a couple more additional questions that I have found really help give me a better understanding of what I should be recommending for someone. So it's my own version of the company's quiz with some extras thrown in. I see. So.
So it suggests to me that you've got wiggle room, that your affiliation gives you a chance to be you, to add some ways that you can do the job better. I like the sound of what you're doing. I like the tone of your voice about this, Jessie, because it's reassuring. And I'm thinking now, I'm looking at my part of this on camera and thinking, oh, this thinning hair. Well, let me ask you, is someone who's almost 80, whose hair follicles are dying by the second, can I be benefited by your product?
Oh, definitely. I'll send you some pictures, Doc, of clients that we've had who have had amazing results. But yes, definitely. Good. Like if you're completely bald, it's not going to help you much. But if you still have hair.
I still have hair. Yeah.
It will. It's great.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, we're at that point toward the end of time. I want to say first that I think you're representing a pattern that's, I'm sure, expanding in the country, if not the world, which is that people who have a primary job, and forgive me for even using the term side hustle because it's a little chintzy, but basically what you're doing, you have a primary, and then you have additional ways that you are expressing what you can do in the world to make the world work better for people. And this is another aspect of the Jessie Radziwon way of being in the world. It's a second way of being in the world. And I think it's exciting. I really do. And particularly if you can help me keep some of this hair.
Well, thanks. It is exciting. It's, it's something I hope I can continue to do. And I love GKN. I've been there for a long time, but if this is the way that lets me be more me in the future, then I'm not opposed to following that direction either. So
the company is still entrepreneurial, isn't it? It's still young. It's only 6 years old. And you're saying
only
it's
6 years old.
And it's got the biggest exposure in these two ways in the country?
So hair care is number 1 in the country. And skincare is number 12, but we've only had our skincare for 2 years. So if you look back at like all the skincare brands that are available in the United States, it's amazing. And it's a family-owned company. They're based in Florida. We have our manufacturing right here in the United States. Distribution is here in the United States. So we didn't have a ton of issues with COVID as far as people trying to order things and not being able to get them. There was definitely like a slowdown with shipping, but as far as having the product, it was there.
That makes a difference.
Which was a bonus. And then, they're just very driven. They're just an amazing company. I really can't say enough good things about them, but they treat all their partners extremely well. And well, it's been great.
I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for them as entrepreneurs, particularly socially motivated entrepreneurs. And I think what you've described to us in this podcast call is socially motivated.
It is. I would say so. Yeah.
Because you started from the beginning. When you have children, sometimes the hair loss, just how many thousands of women have kind of sacrificed hair follicles to the babies. And that's a big concern right away. That's one thing that makes it more socially motivated than just product selling. So, it checks all the boxes.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Thank you, Jessie.
Thank you, Doc.
If you'd like to hear more, listen in on Spotify, Automatic, and Apple Podcasts, or go to inactionresearch.com/podcast-page. And if you'd like to learn more about social inaction and the nature of practice, head over to inactionresearch.com for more information. Thank you for supporting this show. We look forward to hearing from you soon.